Now, the legacy of the ANC has been tainted by various scandals during the march of its 25 years in power. Now, tomorrow the ANC is expected to celebrate its 109th birthday, where President Cyril Ramaphosa will outline the state of the party. But joining us now is party veteran Mr. Mavoso Msimang to speak about the legacy of the ANC through the years. Mr. Msimang, good to have you, and good morning to you, sir. I mean, some critics have, I suppose, described and criticized the ANC's January 8th statement over the past years as a broken record. But in your view, what's the legacy of the ANC, and particularly the January 8th statement?
Thank you very much for inviting me to come over here. The January 8th statement, which is marked to coincide with the birthday of the organization, was always a very important statement. It was started by Oliver Tambo when he was president in exile, and people used to listen to their radios in South Africa and whatever they could get hold of to find out what the ANC intended to do in the course of waging its liberation struggle. We came to 1994, and it continued to be important for the public to know what the organization intended to do in the year ahead. Yes, there have been problems of late, I have no doubt about that. And I do not blame people who think the record has been a bit broken.
Mr. Msimang, I mean, during from the late Oliver Tambo to the current ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa, of course, this being his first term where he is dealing with a global pandemic, what do you think needs to be priority in terms of his agenda come tomorrow?
Well, it's very difficult. I have to say that the statement in 2021 is taking place at a time when the ANC is in a very, very difficult situation. The pandemic, which you mentioned, the ANC is the party in government, and it has to discuss and tell the nation what it plans to do with a virus that has spiraled out of control, that is killing people, infecting people. 21,000 is what we're told happened in the last 24 hours. Over 840 dead. Soon we are getting to know not just numbers, but people who have died. Each person sooner or later will know who has been killed by this virus. In the meantime, the Department of Health seems to have dropped the ball altogether. No one knows when the vaccine is going to be available to distribute to try and combat this virus. Other countries which are less rich than us, which have made arrangements and will be starting quite soon. We hear about this starting in the second quarter. So this is one thing that is causing serious concern to the people. Now, in the meantime, you talk about the virus. We also have another pandemic that has hit the country, which is corruption. And unfortunately, it affects the ANC right through to its top leadership. The economy is suffering the way it is today, in large part because of the corruption. If the corrupt are unable to find cures, then the corruption will not be abated. So you have very many people who have lost their jobs, hundreds of thousands since the pandemic started. But it's not as if the economy was performing properly. So it's a difficult time for the ANC to be telling people what they are planning to do when the National Executive Committee is failing grossly to deal with issues of corruption. In this failure, this body, which is the supreme body in between conferences, is violating its own constitution, ANC constitution.
Right.
It is in breach of resolutions of the conference, and also in breach of its own resolution. So we have a really, really serious problem where, for the first time, we have the Secretary General of the ANC facing charges of corruption and this body is totally paralyzed and unable to do anything about it.
Right. Mr. Mang, I have to let you go in just a minute, but before I do, with that being said, all the issues that you have highlighted, does South Africa, ANC voters as well, do they have, reason to have confidence in the statement tomorrow? I mean, with all the issues around corruption, the leadership, some of the even senior members with the ANC who've been, alleged to be corrupt, asked to step aside, them refusing, and then the ANC obviously being, sort of almost infamous for making promises which they do not keep. Does South Africa have every reason to listen to the statement and believe what comes from the ANC president tomorrow?
The public would be excused if it didn't believe us, if it was skeptical. I mean, we have a stream of broken promises going years back now, when corrupt people have been put on the list to represent people in Parliament and all of that. But there is a serious effort within the organization to renew it, to take it back to the times when it was a respected organization and was considered leader of the organization. It's an uphill battle, but believe you me, so many people in there are doing their best, nudging those who lead and others to do this. I am saying it would be difficult in good conscience to say I expect the public to believe us. We've disappointed them all too many times.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for your time. That's ANC veteran Mr. Mavuso Nsimang.